Hi, so I'm not doing a comic review this weekend because I've not been to the comic shop in about 2 weeks. I've just had things going on, basically my wage comes in on Sunday night, so can't really afford it this week because it's going to be 2 weeks worth. So I'm going to go on Monday. So it's going to be a stack. So I don't know when I'll be doing it. It must be sometime later on next week. But this weekend I am going to do a hidden gem review recommendation, and this is a book that we're also looking at in the Discord book club what I run, and it's a comic. It came out as a series of 4 prestige formats, like Dark Knight Returns format, back in 1990 from DC Comics, Vertigo Comics, and it was by Mark Wheatley and Marc Hempel. They've done things like Gregory, which if you can find a copy at your comic shop or on eBay, I highly recommend it. It was from DC, but under the Piranha Press short-lived imprint. And also they did Tug and Buster, did a series called Mars. But I think what they became most recognised for was the stuff that they did on Sandman. I think they did quite a lengthy run on the Kindly Ones. I think because that story sequence, if I remember rightly, I could be wrong. Um, but yeah, two of my favourite artists. The reason why I say two of my favourite, they're kind of like indecipherable. They can blur into one person. You can't tell where one's art style takes over and the other one begins. They're very, very organic how they work together. But what they did do in 1990, they did a series of 4 prestige format comic miniseries called Breathtaker, which was collected in 1994. I hadn't read this since it came out in 1994 in this hardback, but I lost in this trade paper. But I lost my copy ages ago, years ago, um, and I just thought about it about a year ago. And I thought, oh, I really would like to revisit that. So I looked on eBay and I was able to find one. This should be an evergreen. It's a real shame that you can't buy it anymore apart from second-hand sellers. I do highly recommend you hunt it out. So that's the cover, and I'll read out the synopsis. So, Breathtaker. She will take your breath away and leave you dead. No one is safe from her seduction and love. Men, women, even animals are attracted to her, and none of them can avoid paying the ultimate price for her love. Her name is Chase Darrow, a woman whose love is so satisfying and pure you would be willing to die for it. So it's a modern retelling of the succubus story. Um, the flip side of it in this one is she's really, really likable as Chase Darrow. So this is her here. So it opens where the opening shots. It opens where her love, this old man, is dying, hitting her in her arms, and she's saying, "No, no, don't die, Paul, don't die. It's okay, it's okay, Chase. It's okay, Chase. I love you, I love you, I love you." And he's really, really old. But then you find out a few pages later on, he's actually only 50. But she sucks when she has um, relations with, with somebody. Um, she sucks the life force from them through various means, but she doesn't want to. She's a genuinely nice person. It's like having the worst mutant power you could imagine, and it flips everything on its head with this story. The artwork, to start with, is so unique and original. Everything is slightly off kilter. Even the quiet moments have an energy. Like, but what happens is, so she dies, and this guy's loaded. He's really, really rich. He's like a multi-billionaire, and he's got a son. He's in his 20s, um, who loves her as well. Everybody loves her because she can't help it. It's like this pheromone what she gives off all the time. And he says, "Look, my dad loved you. We don't blame you. This just happened. Just go, and we'll detract. We'll stall the cops when they come." and the cops are brilliant. There's the guy who investigates. It's this old detective. He's like your typical, and it's done intentionally. Your typical cliche, old school detective, proper gumshoe. Um, where is he? How come you can never find stuff what normally you can find straight away? I can't really get a good picture of him yet. I will find it when I'm not looking for it for him. I should really just pause this while I look, but what hey. So it's this guy anyway. He's a really old detective. He's like in his 60s, really skinny, real thin. And again, they flip the story on its head because normally when you have a detective appear, the cliche is he doesn't listen to you. He's really gruff, and he's really really sweet. He's as thin as a rake, and all he can think about is food all the time. He just wants to eat all the time, and that's one of the like running jokes. He's always got something in his mouth, and there's one scene where he's wrestling with a jar of pickles, and the scene happens, and these pickles. He manages to get. He's wrestling with this pickle jar. Can't get the lid off, and this scene happens. And suddenly the lid flies off, and the pickles go all over him. And he's more mortified about that than that he's lost some pickles, and about what's going on. This serious fight that's going on. So he's a great character. But what they also introduce is her nemesis, who's called the Man, and he's a state. He's a superhero, basically run by the government, and it's this guy here. I'll try and get a better picture of him because he's got a ridiculous body. And they've like given him a live action film. He's got a live action series. He's got toys and everything. He's basically making him out to be this great icon for America to look up to. But he's horrible. He's got such a temper. He basically, it's kind of hints that he killed somebody because they cut him off or they insulted his car or something. And he's basically just has control, but they have to use him because he's handled. But this is his handle here, this government agent, and they have to use him because he's the only one who can do like dirty jobs. So they're sent. They hear about what happened with about Chase killing this guy. Well, not intentionally, and so they're basically ordered by the government to hunt her down and to arrest her. In the meantime, she goes on the run, like we said, and she meets up with this. She goes to this diner, and oh, these guys suddenly start acting like horn dogs because again, she can't. They just can't help it. She just has this aura about her, and she doesn't want it. She just doesn't want this power, so she's trying to ignore them. This um, this old waitress at the diner sees that she's being hassled and tries to help her. But in the end, one of them gets so repugnant and so pushy with her that she thinks, "Oh fuck it," and she just drags him off, and they go and have relations. And it's so good how they show can only like the artwork, what they show for like when she seduces somebody. It's just so wonderful. It's got. I don't know if you remember an artist called Mark Badger. It's got that kind of angular style to it. And again, this guy who she goes with, he ends up being smitten by her, and he says, "Look." She explains what she's done. He says, "I don't care." He says, "Look, just go. I love you. Just go. Here's the keys to my van, to my truck." So she goes on the run in his truck, and he basically tries to distract anybody who's going by. But because of what's so he was about in his, I'd say, early 40s, but after that night of passion with her, he's now this old grizzled man. But he thinks it's worth it because he loves her, he adores her. And so it becomes like this weird, trippy road movie now, where you've got the man chasing her, she's on the run, There's the man. And it doesn't drag it out. He finds her quite quickly. So this starts a new story arc. That is just so dynamic. I love how he's got little beady eyes, which he hides behind sunglasses. It's, it doesn't. There's not even quiet moments. The art is so frenetic. It keeps you engaged, and it's beautiful, beautiful art. They do everything. They do the colouring, the artwork. They share the art juices between themselves, and they do the lettering as well. And it pays dividends, and it shows you his grooming techniques. So I love that bit where it shows him concentrating so hard on the time that's passed while he's cutting his toenails. So they basically get hold of her, the man and his agent, and they're on this train. She's like detained by them, and it flips the story on its head. She ends up empathizing with the man because he's got no control over his powers. The government controls everything he does, and they kind of, in a weird way, they connect. And of course, that is carried on later on. But we then go back to the son of the rich guy who died, who's basically just really worried about her, hoping that she's okay. Then all these people appear, and these are all men who've been affected by her, or maybe not them directly, but relations of theirs have basically lost their lives through her, and they don't hate her. They all forgive her because they all love her. So he ends up, he basically ends up with these 12 other guys, and they basically all set out to look for Chase to try and help her. In the meantime, the detective's just there. I love that detective again, just chomping away. And there's a classic line which I'll come to. Where is it? The pages are so thin. Yeah, so that guy's son, he takes all the 12 guys who turned up and the detective for a meal, so they can sort out what to do, the plan of action. And the detective just turns to him and says, "Kind of like your disciples." And the guy goes, "Oh no!" And it's just so brilliant. It gives you like the pregnant pauses within it, and it's like this whole page where it just shows the characteristics of the detective. How he loves his food, but he's very finicky as well. It's just the little things like that. So that's later on. In the meantime, it develops the story between the man and Chase, and it shows how even when she doesn't mean to, she seduces him just through who she is, and he falls headline and sinker in love with her. And she kind of likes him. He's boorish, he's arrogant. He's got the personality of Hulk Hogan, basically. Um, but things change because obviously he sleeps with her. And okay, even though he's got superpowers, he's not immune to her powers, and it affects him in a bad way. And so when he realizes what effect she's had on him, he wants. You think by now he wants vengeance, and so that's how he looks now after he's spent one night with her. So she's basically robbed him about 10, 20 years of his life. He's lost his hair, which he was very, very, very vain about. So she manages to escape. She dives through this window in the train, and she escapes. What I like about it as well, it doesn't dwell on how she escapes. They just let you think she's escaped. Where some comics, say for example, if it was a Marvel comic, they spend 2 issues about her running to find her next destination. It's just done. You take it for granted. It doesn't even tell you she's done it. The next scene, she's back at the old house, and they treat you as a reader that you've got enough brain cells to realise that that's what's happened. And I love how for her thought her thought boxes are done in like this in this just like young woman's handwriting, and she's basically just talking to her mum all the time in these boxes. And she comes down with because she basically dived through the train window naked, So with the elements, etc., she's come down with like this flu, and she starts just getting cabin fever, going a bit doolally. And like I said, meanwhile, like I said, these guys are looking for her dead lover's son, and the others are looking for her, the disciples of her, I guess. But she basically just tries to escape, and something happens with an animal. Nothing weird, but like I said, because of the pheromones, everybody gets attracted to it. It doesn't go into weird bestiality territory, but it does get feelings for it, gets emotionally attached to her. And this is what really devastates because of the effect her power has on the animal. You can just see it kills her inside. She's going, no, 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 no. She can't love anything. It's basically like a more adult version of Rogue. And so the chase resumes, and there's the man now who's really not happy about how he looks. And she basically it becomes very hallucinatory now because she's full of a fever. So I can't show that. Quite a lot of nudity there. Uh, so it does by her hallucinating with a fever dream, what she has, it fills you more on her background and why she's talking, why she's basically composing this imaginary letter to her mum. And that has a really big, deep part of the lore of the whole comic, of how she got powers and how the man got his powers. And the disciples, as we call them now, they find her and they just try and help her, try and shield her from the government. And again, he's my favourite character. I just love that detective. There's a really wonderful just scene between her. It's about 4 or 5 pages long between her and him. The dialogue is fantastic. The pacing of the pages are really, really good. Like I said, if this was done today, it'd be a series of static talking heads. But these are such master craftsmen that even though there's no action, no panel is static. Everything is full of energy. The facial movements are no facial movement is the same. There's like ticks. What you get when you just have conversation with people, normally, your hands move about, you go like that, you start blinking. That's what's conveyed in this. And obviously, while he's talking, he's wrestling with this jar of pickles. And again, this is just it just adds more. There's so much humanity in this book. The chase and the thriller aspect is just kind of like a plot device. That's not the main part of it. It's more of a character study of all these different people and why they do what they do. And this is very clever. He finds out that the government's behind her powers and his powers and some other people's powers. And it brings it to a real exciting climax. But I will stop it there because the climax turns the whole story on its head. We expect it to go one way where it's almost like Armageddon kind of style, like it would in like with films, TV, with games, with comics. You always have a big bad, which in this case is the man, and you end up with this big confrontation, which normally is the final chapter of a book, final episode of a TV series, the final last half hour of a film, or the final issue of a comic. It again they flip it on its head, and it doesn't end in a way that you expect it to, and it makes it all the more cooler and better for it. And yeah, it's this is I think the third time I've read it now because like I said, I had it when it came out in individual books, and then I had it when it was originally released like this. Uh, and yeah, it was just wonderful. So I won't show you that, but these are some of the back matter, some of the covers. Boobies. But I really I'd implore you to either see if you can find it digitally or look on eBay or wherever you get your comics from. See if there's anybody who's got a second-hand copy. I got mine for about £8. I'm sure you'll be able to get it somewhere. It's good. It's really, really good. It's a shame it's not in print anymore. Like I said, there's so many from the Vertigo stable from the 90s that should be evergreens, that should always be in print. This doesn't need any sequels. It's complete. It's perfect. The ending is perfect, and it takes you on a ride where you don't expect it to go. It's like it's driving down the road and suddenly goes, "Oh, let's go down this field instead." It's really good. It circumnavigates everything that you expect from a thriller book, from a thriller comic, and it's all the best for it. I would give it. Yeah, I'm gonna give it 10 out of 10 because I had a blast. I read it this morning. I read it. I was in. I woke up early. Woke up about 8 o'clock, which is early for a Saturday, and I just stayed in bed until I finished. I just couldn't put it down. So that's a sign of a good story. So yeah, so Breathtaker by Mark Wheatley, Marc Hempel. It's got pedigree. They've got so much talent, and I really do think you will not be disappointed reading this. Word of caution, though, it is strongly for mature readers. Not because there's violence. Far from it. It's more because it's a story for adults. It's a story for kids. It's not a story for kids. Kids will find this boring because there's not really typical action beats in it. Yeah, there's action in it, but it's not. That's not the main part of the story. It's more the emotional side. It's more this study of individual characters where chase is the catalyst for all these different people's actions. Yeah, it's such a rewarding read. I'm so pleased I read it again. So I highly recommend giving Breathtaker a try. It's worth hunting out. I don't know if I call this a hidden gem. I'd say it's more like buried treasure. That's what I'll call it on the video. So yeah, this is my buried treasure recommendation. Okay, bye.